All right, welcome to Movie Madness Entertainment. I'm joined with my good friend Rhea, and we're talking about the Switch 2. And people might not believe me. I tell this. Oh, if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button, notification bell for everything great happening in entertainment. You're already in the right place to talk about some positive stuff, including the Switch 2, which I was not convinced of until the presentation. And I said one of my biggest criticisms was that I don't know if Mario Kart is going to convince me. I don't know, because I've been, after playing Mario Kart 8 for like 8 years since the Wii U, I was like, is it going to do enough to pull me in? I really wanted like Nintendo Kart, like they've done with Smash Brothers, and more Nintendo characters like they did at the very end of Mario Kart 8, where they brought in Link and Animal Crossing and things like that, and the different tracks. That's what I wanted. They didn't give that to us, but they still grabbed me with Mario Kart World. And I have to say, I saw a clip yesterday, and Rhea knows, because I think when you were doing video game content, I asked you to play Wave Race. You know, Wave Race is one of my favorites. Now, this is Wave Race for Switch 2, is at least as close as we're going to get. And honestly, I don't think since N64 that Wave Race has been a big seller. So maybe at the end of this clip out, we'll do what our wish list for the Switch 2, what Nintendo franchises we'd like to see, or what features or something. But I kind of think in Mario Kart World, based on this video clip, this is what you're going to get for Wave Race for now. I don't think they're going to be, I would be jumping for joy if they announced a new Wave Race, especially with 4K graphics. But I sent this to you the other day. I don't know if you got a chance to look at it yet, Rhea.
I haven't.
Okay, well, that's better. That's better. And now I know she doesn't pay attention to my Twitter DM. No, I'm just kidding. I'm joking. But watch this, Rhea. This is amazing. And I want to. There's got to be hidden things that happen in the world. Open world.
Your mic cut out. But yeah, is this like a little hub world like it was in like Diddy Kong Racing? I love the hub world.
I think it's just I don't know. It's just like an open world. You hit that power button and then you do a little course, a mini course. But this is like Wave Race. Look at the waves.
No, it looks great.
Or maybe because they did this makes the new Wave Race more likely, because they already worked on the wave effects, you know? Mm-hmm. Maybe we will get a Wave Race 3. Or actually 4, because I think it was on Game Boy first.
No, this is very different and very it looks very fun. Because sometimes like I would get it was fun to like play Mario Kart on my own and try to get good before getting online or playing with other friends. But this seems like something that I could enjoy doing on my own without the intent being to get better in a competition setting. Like this is something I could like enjoy just as a story mode, I guess. I'm hoping that there would be a story mode.
Well, I really think the world, and not calling it Mario Kart 9, and then like a basis, people said it's like Forza Horizon or an open world racing game, like a current. I think that Nintendo, especially since they're charging the $80, I think they have some stuff we don't know about. Like, for one thing, the biggest questions I have, and can you hear me okay still? The mic's okay? Okay. The biggest questions I have is like, there's one thing where you could drive around like a restaurant or a fast food place and get food, and it gives you a new costume. I've speculated before that since it is open world and we have these costumes, and they seem more like, the characters don't seem like in past Mario Karts, the character models seem to be built from the ground up for this new game. It seems like they're capable of getting on and off the vehicles. Like maybe there is a part where like Grand Theft Auto Nintendo World, where you could get off the thing and go into a building or do things like that, or even maybe do some light platforming within the world. Who knows? I'm thinking of like Crazy Taxi. Like if you Crazy Taxi mode, instead of picking up passengers, you pick up a fast food meal and be like an Uber driver in Mario Kart World and deliver food. I'm thinking of all these things that I really hope Nintendo thought of too. But I really think there's stuff like that in this game. I really do.
I really hope so too. All those ideas you mentioned sound really cool. And yeah, like I said, I want a more enriching single player campaign mode if possible. I don't know if a lot of folks watching know this, but like I prefer single player games and in handheld mode for the most part. So that's basically where I spend the most time playing. So that would be really meaningful for me. So.
Oh yeah. There's the one notable thing that's different from this last Mario Kart release is the knockout mode and the free roam mode. So one thing I think they have to do is one of my favorite like arcade racers / trick games was SSX 3.
I never played the series.
Oh, okay. That's really fun. But one of the things that was innovative at that time was that the tracks, just like the Mario Kart world, you could just keep going down the mountain. You could go down the whole mountain of tracks and it just keeps going the game, and then you go into another track. There's like in between tracks. It just doesn't stop. So I think at this is since it's world and there's free roaming mode, and they've already shown that between tracks you keep racing. Did you see that in some of the directs that you keep racing between tracks? Like
yes.
So I'm pretty sure they're gonna have I would think they'd have a mode where you just race every track in the game and just keep going the whole world. You know?
Maybe. Oh, well, like that's the knockout mode, right? Or are you talking about something even more extensive than that?
More extensive than that. More extensive than knockout mode, than you just keep going. You keep going like an enduro mode. You just keep going. It never stops.
Oh, man.
But now let's talk about wish list. Based on that, I cannot get Wave Race out of my mind. I would love Wave Race. We are, with the GameCube, getting F-Zero back in a way. I would, at the very least, the last F-Zero was on the GameCube, and Namco or Sega did the arcade version, and there's arcade tracks that are very hard to unlock on the GameCube. I would hope on Nintendo Online, just like you know how they have some of those retro games on the online system now, they have different versions of the game eventually. I hope they just make the arcade tracks playable. Would be another wish I think is easily accomplished by Nintendo. Please think about games you want from the Nintendo back catalog that you'd like to see. F-Zero, definitely. Wave Race is the top of the list. I would like Star Fox to come back. I know people didn't like the Wii U version. I think it's easy to, especially, that's one game that they did not bring to the Switch, which they can upgrade, basically just do new controls and re-release it again. That's like an easy slam dunk. So those are my thoughts on the games like that I really want to see on the Switch 2 life cycle. Anything from Nintendo that you want to see that they haven't announced yet?
I would love to see them reintroduce the eShop, the way that we know it from
you
the
could just buy
3DS and Wii U. Oh man, like I had no idea like 10 years ago how valuable that service was. Let's fast forward to where we are now. My interpretation of streaming and subscription services was oh, unlimited access forever, but it's literally not even that at all. So I would love to just be able to buy digital keys to these games and just have them on my my micro SD card to transport to another Switch. By the way, folks, there's only 250 gigs of storage on your Switch natively, so be sure to pick up another mini SD card or micro SD card and make sure it's an express card. Yeah, those are the only ones that work on the Switch 2.
I would love that too. I think it's never going to happen again, Rhea. I think the best eShop virtual console experience was the Wii U, and I don't think it's ever going to be that good again, because that's just like, as someone that's been following media for so long, that's just like at the beginning of Netflix. Everyone was on Netflix at the beginning because it wasn't proven yet. And then everyone realized, oh, you can make money with your back catalog of stuff. And they don't want you to own it. They want you to be consistently subscribed, especially Nintendo. So yeah, I don't think they'll ever go back to a virtual console model except for current gen and maybe last gen where you could buy the virtual games. Like even Microsoft is leaning off of the backwards compatibility. They were kept lots of backwards compatibility games. As one of the few Xbox fans in our collab group and friends on YouTube, they've been delisting backwards compatible games. You could still use them if you have the physical disc, but you can't buy them digitally, even more so now. And it's because the rights holders want to resell it, you know. It's easier them legally to have a subscription service and remove stuff there instead of you purchase it, even though you don't when you buy digital, you don't necessarily own it too. It's still like a rental. There's all kinds of stuff in the small print and the legal, but it just makes it easier for them if it's a consistent subscription service. So I would love that too. I don't think it's ever going to happen. I don't think we ever are going to have it as good as the Wii U, especially since you could do, that was one of the best ways to play DS games.
Oh yeah, and I still have no idea how something like that will be replicated without fully remastering a DS or a 3DS game with new controllers remapped or something along those lines. Because there's a lot of really amazing DS and 3DS games that are just sort of, locked to those consoles because they were so specifically designed for that hardware with the dual screens. Mm-hmm. So I am hoping, to your point, like you've been advocating this for like years and years, that Switch is so easily convertible into like a Wii U, format. Like, why doesn't Nintendo do that? And I don't know why they haven't done it. It seems like a great idea to me.
Yeah, my hope was for the Switch 2 before it was announced that you could do a second screen from the TV and you could just hit the C button. That I was like, I know it's probably just chat or something, but you could, once you hit that button, it would be your second screen and the TV screen. It would be so beautiful, but I don't think we're going back to those days, especially since once you resell the games, which is, let's be real, the majority of current gen, not just Nintendo, is reselling us old remastered games again. It's just Nintendo's gone to a mode where like they're past things that made them really unique and great. They're still there. They still have that, but they're really out of the off the wall ideas, made those games not very portable to the new generation, like dual screen. It's possible, but it's not extremely accessible to just slap on a Switch 2 without figuring out, all their past control methods and stuff. How about games though? Any IP that you miss from Nintendo's heyday or not? They're still in their heyday. They're actually I think they're more popular than ever. Especially since they're now on how good they're doing in movies, and we might get a new Zelda movie and Mario. I think they're more popular, and they're at Universal. They're more popular than ever. But what from the past? Any Nintendo games that you could think of that you would really like to see?
Well, Chrono Trigger was originally released on the Super Nintendo, but then on the PlayStation 1 as well, and then on Steam. So I would say, like, since it originally came out on the Super Nintendo, it's like one of those games that I'm like, let me just buy it on the eShop just so I can like just play it as is. You don't have to remaster it, but assuming we won't get that option. And I don't know how it would work for them to put it on their subscription service either. That's one game that I would love to, see them put onto some sort of like collection, like they did with Collection of Mana. So the Secret of Mana series, that's a spinoff from Final Fantasy. And they were able to put like 3 different games on there that originally came out on Game Boy, and then I think on Game Boy. And I would just like to see them do that because they have that, proof of reference that people will buy that. And if they were to just release the original Chrono Trigger and then get, some data on how many people will, pay for that, or like, subscribe to the service for that, or play it online so they could track it, then maybe that can fuel their interest in, helping the whoever the IP owner is, Square Enix, I guess, to develop a Switch exclusive. That would be a system seller for a lot of people, I'm sure.
Oh yes, bringing back Square Enix, like a Switch exclusive, because Square's been on Nintendo consoles, but not like they were in the Super Nintendo NES days, an exclusive. And this makes it, with the technology under the Switch 2 4K, this makes it more likely. I
Yeah.
agree with that.
I would love to see them put more modern Final Fantasy games too. So although these aren't first party Nintendo games, they're doing a lot of like really awesome partnerships with third party developers to take advantage of the new hardware. So yeah, it would make sense to me for them to put like Final Fantasy 14. That's the online version of the game, and then or the open world online game, and then 7. That's one that people are still talking about and playing. So that would mean a lot for them to put it on the platform for Switch players too.
I want to bring up, we'll move on to some other stuff, but the great options there. I would also add to the list some of the Sega Nintendo or GameCube games like Skies of Arcadia, and some of the things like after they went third party would be great. Billy Hatcher would be great on the virtual console, so hopefully Nintendo also works with third parties to do that. Let me see where I was going here. I made myself lose my own thought about what I was gonna.
It's been a long topic. So
no. Okay. Key cards. The key card controversy. Third parties. I want to say this. I really, people could do whatever they want. Blame whoever they want. I think that it's really, if you're going to blame anyone, don't blame Nintendo. Blame the developer themselves, or talk to the developer themselves respectfully that you're going to open your wallets for games on physical cards, because if Nintendo's not going to stop a developer from doing that. Look at Cyberpunk. I'm sure Nintendo worked closely with CD Projekt Red to make that happen. That's one of the, I don't know if you're interested in that one, but that is an amazing physical edition. That's going to be extremely collectible in the future. But I am so okay with key cards because you still retain the value. Okay. And then I'm going to tell everyone right this now. Yes, you Switch 1 collectors. You had a lot of games on the card, but you didn't have the AAA big publisher games. In the key card situation is going to make more likely that cross-platform AAA games from third parties are coming to your Switch 2, where you did not have that scenario. I know the Switch 1 was extremely successful, one of the best-selling consoles of all time, but you did not get simultaneously released AAA titles from third-party publishers, and third-party publishers do not want to put that on the card. They don't. They want to give you a key card just like they give you a key disc for the Series X and the PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4. They don't want to do it. And that's part of the reason why Nintendo retains the value when you're on the used market of their physical media, is because they literally do it. But I really think that people's anger towards that specific subject, and I get you, we're both physical media collectors, but I want to know your thoughts on that, Ray. I really don't think you could blame Nintendo, but I really think that's misguided. I don't think you get some of these games on an actual card. First off, because the third party, it's more expensive for them to do a bigger meg cart, and piracy reasons. It's easy. It's still possible to pirate, but it's easier to pirate once you have it all on I'm sure Nintendo's, as much as people love the Switch 1, it was a bad era for piracy for those games. And everyone bringing up their Steam Deck. Why would I buy a Switch 2 when I have a Steam Deck that can play all its games? That's exactly why we have this key card situation, everyone. I'm not blaming the pirators, but I'm just saying there's reasons for this. And what's your thoughts on that situation, third parties? I think you're finally going to get AAA simultaneous releases with the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, and Series X because of the key card option.
So I think like my understanding of it might be missing a little bit of information, but my fear is that there's going to be this requirement to be online during specific instances of your game key card, experience, right? Like, obviously for like updates, and for sure to like download the game as well. So my concern is, folks, with limited, internet accessibility and just like their long-term game ownership experience, or whatever we want to call it, with digital media. So that would be my first concern.
Okay. From what my understanding right now, it's no different than putting in a disc to the PS5 or Series X. Initially, you need internet connection for the download. I do not think you'll need it on the go. Now, requiring internet connection to maintain gameplay, that's a different thing that I completely understand. It's BS. That's why the Xbox One sold so bad. That's what they were originally going to do. And then there was backlash. If that was a thing, I think the voices and on video game commentary would be even louder right now. So I don't think that's an issue. It's possible, but I do not think that Nintendo will put an extra requirement on these games to check in with online to keep playing. I think that would be a disaster. So I think you're okay there. I think it's just going to work just like sticking in a physical disc for Xbox or PlayStation, which people are upset now because we had it good with Nintendo. But whether you think piracy, I'm not judging you for pirating it. They were not happy about it. And that's besides the lack of specs on the Switch 1 for AAA games. That was another scenario as to why third-party developers may not rush to the Switch 1, but they will to the Switch 2, Mm-hmm. It's because it's not all on there. And I think we're good there.
Okay.
But what about blaming Nintendo for the game not actually being on the card? I think that's third-party developers really don't want to do it.
I did want to show this one example that I'll drop to you in the chat. So my second concern is that games that don't, I'm not a developer. I'm not, on the finance team saying how much this costs or anything like that. My point of reference is very limited, but for games that I don't agree should be a game card and that should have very small file sizes on them, I don't agree with that being on a game, a digital key game card, or because,
yeah.
Yeah. So again, go ahead.
So this one specifically, which you probably ordered, right?
Yes, and okay. I ordered the game key card version because that's the only version that was available, and this is a remaster of a 3DS game, y'all. So there was also a sequel that was put on Switch where it had the sequel natively on the cart where you don't have to use a digital download, and I have that as well.
My interpretation of Bravely Default Flying Fairy just being a key card is logically this is not a very taxing game. It very much so could fit in a card. I would assume it's not Nintendo at all. I would assume it's the developer not wanting the full game on the card for, piracy reasons. Again, it's not impossible to pirate Bravely Default. There's ways to get it, but it makes it a little bit more difficult. It's easier to just do a key card too for developer reasons. Like the costs are minimal to optimize file size. But the only one that really does that is Nintendo consistently reduces their file size of their games, So there's development reasons. I would check to see, because this is on PlayStation, Xbox too, right? This game. When was the last time this game was out?
This was a late era 3DS game.
Yeah, but the HD remaster, do they have this? Is this only on Switch 2, or is this on Xbox? I would assume also because it's on if it is on other platforms, it's also ease of porting it. It's just so easy to port it. You don't have to worry about the constraints of the key card, It's just easier, and that's my thoughts. Now, maybe when this was, I don't know if this was the 3DS and PS Vita too. It was probably all on the card at that point.
Yeah, the 3DS version, obviously all in the cart. Didn't have to, download anything to play it. Maybe like, a software update. But yeah, in my experience, I don't remember having to download anything for it. Um, and like I said, the sequel to this game, the original 3DS game, the sequel was put on Nintendo Switch, and that was natively on the cart as well. I hear what you're saying too about, low cost and also being able to control piracy, but yeah, I get frustrated when this is specifically at the developer. Nintendo probably had nothing to do with this. It's this specific developer, for some reason, they are putting it on a digital key card, and I feel like that's a way to justify the low cost out the gate. But I feel if folks know, the JRPG, community that I'm very much a part of, and I mingle and, support folks like that, we're willing to pay the $60-$70
Oh
for
yeah, yeah.
physical media. So that shouldn't have been an issue for the folks who would really realistically buy this game, if that makes sense. Like you're making it more accessible for people who probably aren't even interested to play it. So
Yeah.
that's my, that's my frustrating, point of view on that as well.
I would think this is probably going to be on multiple platforms. And honestly, under the hood of all these consoles, besides scalable graphics, the graphics fidelity being better on higher cost consoles, we're also in an era where there were costs associated with porting games to other platforms that had their own infrastructure, like the PS3 era, the 360 era, and Nintendo era at that time. It was very hard to have your game on multiple systems, and this game is probably little differences if it is on PlayStation 5 and Xbox, the file. It's probably just ported over, ease of use, low cost to port a game now. And that honestly, it's actually a better thing, because there are maybe some scenarios where you don't get the game because there's extra costs associated with porting it over, but you still own the game by buying it physically. A key card is still an extreme value over digital. That's where I would end this topic. Even though it's not what collectors want, it's still a way better value than digital only. Because I think even legally, I'm not sure, but legally, if you own the physical card and you stick it in your system, you have an internet connection, they have to provide a link to download the game somehow. Unless the company no longer exists and is bounced from I think that's the only way that you wouldn't be able to download it, But they, even like if you stick a game in now and it's not all on the disc or the card and you have an internet connection, even for stuff that's delisted on Xbox, they have to give you those files, So it's not the best scenario, but it's still a collector's item for you.
I'll say this too. I apologize for making this go half an hour long, but I will give credit to developers who, in the initial couple years of Nintendo Switch being out in 2017 through maybe like 2019 on 2020, a lot of folks or third parties weren't able to optimize their games to be natively on the cart. So there was mostly just remakes and remasters coming out for Switch, or they skipped it, to your point. So give Nintendo Switch 2 a few years for developers to acclimate to how to optimize software to potentially be native on the cart. I'll be willing to give them that, concession, because I've seen it happen before with Switch. It just takes a few years for third parties to basically learn how to optimize their development cycle around that specific infrastructure.
And I do feel like the Switch 2 might be bigger than the Switch 1 because of the third party scenario, because of the key card scenario, because cross-platform, and you can take your console handheld on the go. I forgot though. I haven't seen all this stuff. The Xbox games are now on PlayStation 5, but I haven't seen any announced Xbox games on for the Switch 2 announcements yet. So I really want to see that Halo collection. I don't know. Would you ever play Halo if it's a Switch 2 edition?
Yeah, Game Pass on Switch. I know we've probably talked about this a few times on your show.
Well, no, I mean like not just Game Pass, but the physical game Halo Master.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay.
And like I would just buy it just to collect it too if I don't play it.
Well, I forgot to say this in the wish list. I so want, now that Microsoft is on other consoles, I so want the Rare Replay collection on a Switch 2. Would be amazing with Banjo-Kazooie, and then Diddy Kong Racing. Please, since you're working with Nintendo, that's like one of my favorite games of all time. Diddy Kong Racing, bring it back.
It's great.
Okay, so I think we did like a Nintendo podcast for 31 minutes. The Glimmercast returns.
Woo!
So we did like a whole podcast on the Nintendo Switch 2. So I might just release it just like that and then do clip outs. So if you want to see more of Rhea talking about the Switch 2, you're gonna have to wait a while because she gets her Switch 2 next week and she'll be gaming for a while. You might see her playing Mario Kart World.
Oh, we're all gonna, hop online to like, show our.
I have to figure that out because I'm leaving Friday night to go to the lake, but I have to see if my mother's because she still does she's retired, but she still does some work. If her internet hotspot will work at the lake for Switch 2. See how that works. But see you next time. Give us your thoughts on all these topics. Have a good one.